everyone, thanks for joining me for another fun project. Today we are going to make a density tower. I'm Miss Mallory over at the Idaho Falls Public Library, here to show you how to do that and to show you some books that talk about density. We have Captain Kidd's Crew, Experiments with Sinking and Floating, What Floats, What Sinks, A Look at Density, and How Toys Float. All three of these books are available in our nonfiction collection, so you're welcome to place them on hold or come into the library and grab them off the shelf. So for today's project, you're going to need a jar or a glass that has a smooth sides and that you can see through. The project's not very fun if you can't see through your container. You'll want some rubbing alcohol. We colored ours with red food coloring, but you don't have to color it at all, or you can color it with whatever color you like. You'll also need water. We colored ours with green food coloring. Corn syrup, dish soap. A nice thick concentrated dish soap is the best for this activity. And vegetable oil. If you don't have corn syrup, you can try this experiment with another thick liquid like honey or maple syrup. So this is going to give us an opportunity to talk about density and which liquids are heavier and lighter and whether or not they mix. So we're going to go ahead and start with our corn syrup. You're going to want to pour a thick base layer about 1 inch deep. All right. With that one, you don't have to be super careful about how you pour it. For our next layer, we're going to do the dish soap. With the dish soap, you do need to be a little more careful because you don't want it to mix with your corn syrup. So you can tilt your jar and slowly pour the soap down the side. Again, you're going to look for a nice layer about 1 inch thick. Our soap is going to give us, it looks like about 1/2 inch of a layer, but that's okay. That's plenty. You can definitely still see the two separate layers and that those two liquids did not mix. Now we're going to add our water. So we added food coloring so that we could tell the difference between the soap, the water, and our corn syrup. We want the colors to be different. We're going to do the same thing we did with our soap and tilt our jar and pour it slowly. If tilting the jar seems to be a little difficult, you can also use a turkey baster. And the turkey baster will help you pour in your materials so that they do not mix with one another. So now we have our 3 layers. We have our corn syrup layer, our blue soap layer, and our green water layer. Our next layer is going to be our yellow vegetable oil. We're going to go ahead and tilt the jar, pour it in there, give ourselves a pretty thick layer of the vegetable oil, just like we did with the others. So now we have our 4 different layers and they are not mixing. Now it's time to add our rubbing alcohol. Our rubbing alcohol is red so that we can differentiate it from all our other liquids. And again, we're going to pour it slowly. Some might pour out onto your surface. That's okay. You can also dry up the sides of your jar if it comes out that way. So now we have our pink layer of rubbing alcohol there. And you can see that all of our layers are not mixing. We've got 5 different liquids. A fun way to modify this is to try it with even more liquids than we did today. You can try adding milk. Like I mentioned earlier, you can use honey or maple syrup in place of your corn syrup. What do you think would happen if you added the really light liquids, like our rubbing alcohol, before you added the corn syrup? Do you think that the corn syrup would sit on top of our rubbing alcohol, or do you think that eventually they would separate and the rubbing alcohol would go on top? Or maybe they would mix together if you added them in a different order. Those are all questions that you can ask yourself and try this experiment at home with a bunch of different things that you can find in your kitchen and around the house. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope you'll come get some of those books that we talked about at the beginning of our project.